Don't care what they think about me. I'm gonna age inappropriately. It's almost Christmas, and I have an amazing special guest today. Apparently, I've been a very good girl this year because right in the middle of his busiest season, I have been able to snag some time with the one, the only, all the way from the frosty North Pole, Santa Flavious.
Well, I am delighted to be here. And if there's anyone I would interrupt my busy schedule for, it would be Mandy Champagne Fabulous Blackfoot.
Oh, thank you, Santa. I always like to start my show when I have guests with explaining to the audience how I met the person or why I invited them to be on the show. The first time I ever met you, you had been, secretly delivering gifts to my house since the 70s, but didn't actually meet you face to face until about 2018, I think it was.
That
Um,
sounds right.
Yes, I started volunteering with the Longview Symphony Orchestra, and my friend Pilar and I walked into the Belcher Center where we do the Christmas Symphony show every year. And way up on the second balcony floor, we were in the lobby, and up on the second level, you and one of your elves were standing up there and you bellowed down some sort of Christmas greeting. And I thought, oh my goodness, it's Santa, and I'm finally meeting him.
Not only did I greet you with Christmas salutations, but I believe I broke into Cher's "Do You Believe in Life After Love" from the balcony.
Yes, yes, indeed. And that is what I love about you. You are not a totally traditional, like Christmas song only type musician.
That's exactly true. I I I have my faves, but I'm also quite eclectic.
Yes. And so that was the first time I met you because I was started to volunteer with the symphony, and you are part of the symphony Christmas show every year. Then we started hanging out a little more regularly at other symphony events, and we became pals.
Yes.
Because you are involved with the symphony, you play the guitar, and some of our viewers may have seen the very viral video of late that is showing you directing Sleigh Ride with the symphony orchestra in this year's performance. So tell me about, how did you get started in music? How did you learn to play the guitar? Like, tell me about Santa and music, please.
Let me start with the example you just gave, the sleigh ride moment. I'll let you in on a fun fact. When I was directing, or for rehearsal that same day, the conductor, Greg, gave explicit instructions to the orchestra, which were essentially don't follow Santa, because I was a big goofball more than anything, which made for a lot of fun.
Was
But
he standing on the side somewhere, like actually conducting, or?
I think a little bit, and they were so familiar with that piece that they could
Mm,
have played it blindfold, probably. But
okay.
we had a great time with it. But to the second half of your question, music, and how did it uh, make its way into my life? Well, I've been around for centuries, so I've seen all the greats, of course, Bach, Beethoven,
Mm-hmm.
Tchaikovsky, all those guys. I mean, they were whew, they were rock stars in their time for certain. But I found my wheelhouse, so to speak, in in the late 70s and 80s. I really caught the rock and roll bug a little bit, uh,
Oh, okay.
which was a different experience for me. And it was through that and really the polarizing passing of John Lennon that really sparked my interest and made me go backwards uh, and inquire about who the Beatles were and subsequently other bands from the 60s and that era. And the next thing I found myself having was a big desire to play music myself. And I thought, if I could chunk a few chords and entertain myself, that would be great. I never imagined that I would entertain others, but as fate would have it, I've been able to play and just bring joy to folks through music.
Yes. Marvelous. Does Mrs. Claus play any sort of instrument or any of your elves or anybody, or is it just you?
Mrs. Claus does not play an instrument, but she's got a lovely singing voice, which she rarely gives me a preview of.
Just maybe in
So,
the shower or something?
yes, when I do catch her singing, I try to be real still so she doesn't know I'm listening because
Don't scare the animals.
it's a delight. I've got some musical elves, yes. Many of my elves play, whether it's the harpsichord or the flute, a
Oh,
whole band of merry elves that play various instruments. But guitar is my main instrument that
you're the
I,
lead guitar player, and are you always the lead singer too?
well, I'm by my very nature a ham. So, yes, uh, I've got a bit of the LSD, lead singer disease.
Oh, I've never heard that one before. But I'm ching. Do you have a favorite Christmas song?
You know, I like to hear classic Christmas songs reimagined altogether. So,
Oh,
not really one specific, although there are certain songs that just take me back, the classic chestnuts roasting on an open fire and so on and so forth. But when I hear Ronnie James Dio do a version of a classic Christmas song or Twisted Sister, for instance, I'm like,
oh,
oh, I've never heard it like that before. And it kind of tickles my fancy.
Santa Likes Twisted Sister. Who knew?
And they
This
let
show
me
is educational. Do you have a favorite song that is not Christmas related that you would like to share with the audience?
know. When I think of what led me to playing music, the Beatles, uh, I hearken back to the feeling I get from hearing their song in my life, which is just a reflection of where you've been and where you're going and who you were there with. So, there are places I remember all my life, though somehow, you know the song. So
Yes,
it's
very
a
nice.
it's a beautiful song, and it's my heart when I hear that song just automatically perks up because I think of how I've been blessed over my life and the people that have come in and out of my life. And it just puts a big old smile on Santa's face.
Well, that is the perfect segue into our next topic, Santa. You know, the name of this show is the Age Inappropriately Show. Can you please remind me how old you are?
I will be 1753 in March.
In March.
Yes.
Wow. 1753.
And you can
Uh,
you can Google that.
okay.
Saint Nicholas.
Saint Nicholas. And where did you tell me that you were born?
I was born in a little village in Turkey, Myra, what's modern day Turkey. It wasn't Turkey then, of course. Um, and I was orphaned at a young age, but my parents left me quite the dowry, if you will. So I found out pretty early that I had a heart for those less fortunate. And there was this one particular family with two young daughters who they were struggling financially. So I took it upon myself. I thought it would just kind of be a nice gesture. I didn't think it would catch on and spiral into this big, if you
Global
will,
phenomenon.
global phenomenon. just this mysterious thing that we call Christmas and Santa and presents and joy. But I, I, I mean, technically this is burglary, but I slipped into their house one evening and stuck a couple of coins in their stockings that were hanging by the fireplace to dry. And here we are, all these centuries later, and people are hanging stockings purposefully for the sole purpose of gift receiving. Uh,
So the first stockings were actually people's socks that they hung by the fire to dry after they had washed them.
Correct. And
Wow.
now you know the rest of the story.
That is the rest of the story. Thank you. Oh, what was that guy's name? Paul Harvey?
That's him.
Yeah, yeah. He was awesome. Okay. Now you're 1700 and what? 40?
52, 52
52,
in March.
1752. I'm just 52 years old, and things in my body are starting to complain. Some wrinkles are trying to push their way through, thanks Botox, and I'm fighting them as best I can. You look amazing for being 1700 years older than me. Do you have any health or beauty secrets that you'd like to share with us? Like, how do you not look 1752 years old? And how do you like, keep yourself in shape for all that chimney diving that you do?
Well, first and foremost, I'm on a seafood diet. And that is to say, if I see food, I eat it.
I was waiting for it.
Uh, and other than that, yes, I do try to take care of myself. Santa does have a workout regimen, a skincare
Oh,
regimen, and mostly it's up here. If I can never grow up mentally, well, then my body is kind of tricked into not doing so bad itself.
so it's a mind game more than anything you say.
John Lennon song, Mind Games, yes. Good call.
All right. Can you give us any more details about what your beauty routine or your health, regimen is? I love an infrared sauna. That seems to help me with my arthritis crap. Do you
Uh,
have any routines or things
no,
like that to
no
help you
often, not
fight
often.
aging?
I do a facial every now and then.
Oh,
People ask me what kind of lotion do I use, and I use a bar of soap, and that seems to do just fine.
that's such a Miss America answer. Like almost every time I've ever heard a Miss America ask what's your routine? Oh, just soap and water, because I'm such a natural beauty. I don't need any
I
special
don't,
creams, just
I don't
soap and
mean to
water.
brag, but perhaps there is something to that. It's what keeps my skin looking like a baby's bottom, just ageless.
Do you have
So,
any beard grooming secrets?
oh yes, this is going to bring down an entire industry. But beard oil, tiny little 1 ounce
Yeah.
bottle, $20. That that's a lot of that's a lot of clams right there. So I actually use a product called Kerastase. And it is an oil, but it's certainly not intended for just beards, but it does wonders for my beard and keeping it rejuvenated, if you will. And then
Fighting the frizz.
yes, I use an anti-frizz on top of that. I think it,
Oh,
I think it's by TG, and I combine the two, the Kerastase and the anti-frizz, and work that through the beard. And then people ask me, how do I get my beard so nice and plump and curly? It's like, well, I use a diffuser, of
a
course.
diffuser like on your hair dryer?
Yes, ma'am,
Oh
absolutely.
my goodness. I used one of those in the 80s when I had a spiral perm, I think. But
And yeah,
I didn't even realize that you would need to dry a beard at all. So you actually like blow dry your beard.
absolutely. I use a little round brush on the mustache.
Oh,
Yes.
to give
And
it a little twirl. You don't do like the total handlebar swirly curl, do you? I can't
I
really.
went through that phase. And you know what? It looks too tidy. It looks too plain.
Ah, too
I
planned, too
Yes,
stiff.
yes, because when all is said and done, I'm getting into a sleigh, flying around the world in one evening, hashtag time continuum. And that's a lot of wind up there. Do I really want to manicure it and make it look all zippity doo dah just to have it be windblown? No.
No, that's very practical. Yep.
Thank you for seeing that my way.
So if you're 1,752 years old, how long have you been married to Mrs. Claus?
Well, we met when I was in my early hundreds.
All right. So if you were in your hundreds, so you've been married like 1,600-ish years.
Yes, we will celebrate 1642 this July.
Wow. Um, do you have any happy marriage advice? Like, how do you guys keep the mojo going after so many years?
Well, from the Gospel of Elton John, go down on me here. In other words, don't let the sun go down on your anger. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, mama gets what mama wants.
I
Number
like that.
three,
You
number
hear that,
three,
boys? Mama gets what mama wants. That's the secret to the happy marriage.
it's true.
I'll drink to that.
Number three, mama is always right. And you stick by those three, that little hat trick, that little trifecta right there, 1,700 years later, and we're still going strong.
Excellent.
Yes.
So, the reason that I started this podcast is because I wanted to encourage people to understand earlier than I did. Like, I didn't realize probably till I was in my late 40s that I shouldn't really worry about what other people think about me and just, do what makes me happy and focus on that and not focus on other people. So, you've been around a long time and seen a lot of things. Is there any advice that you would like give to your younger self?
Yes, I would tell myself, don't take any wooden nickels, bygones,
What's a
and
wooden nickel?
I don't know who
You're
comes
so
up.
like my dad right now. He says that too. I think you might be related to Daddy Bill.
I don't know who comes up with these colloquialisms,
Don't
but
take any wooden nickels. Okay. I
um,
don't think there's much danger of that these days. Do you have anything a little more relevant, perhaps?
yes. Well, back to what you said and that you learned later in life was uh, disregarding what people think of you. You can be in a room with 10 people and nine of them compliment you, and that one has a critique. And more likely than not, you're going to hold on to that critique more than those nine compliments.
Mm-hmm.
When you've been around the block a while, you come to realize how much time, energy, and emotion you've invested into doing that very thing that you mentioned, worrying about what others think about you. When I reached the precipice, that way of thinking, and I thought to myself, I'm just going to continue to be the little spark on the horizon, if you will. That's a Van Halen lyric that God intended me to be. And if people want to hop on the choo choo train with Santa, and go along for the ride, great. And if it's not their cup of tea, there's always another train somewhere else that can
That's
pick them.
right. Yeah.
I like what you said in that you waste a lot of time worrying about what others think about you. And my rule of thumb is always if I'm coming up with an idea, if I'm coming up with something that I think might bless others, then I don't let the little voices inside my head talk me off of that idea.
I'll I have to stop my own voices too. Like sometimes I'll think, oh, people are gonna think this or that about me, and then I'm like, I don't care what they think. Don't worry about it. And or I'll start judging other people, and I've been trying a lot lately to, stop that too. If I think something judgy about somebody else, I'm like, don't worry about it. That's not harming you. Focus on yourself. If they're not causing me any trouble, then don't worry about it. Don't let it fill up your brain.
That is an excellent posture to have in everything in life.
Thank
You know,
you, Santa.
I'm going to please everyone, and
No,
they can adapt to you, or you can move on down the road.
Ease
Eat
on
on
down the
down the
road.
road, as
That's
Michael Jackson
right.
said.
That's right.
The Wiz.
The Wiz. So, I'm going to be talking a lot about fashion on this show, and I'd love to talk about your wardrobe because you look pretty snazzy. How many like different outfits do you have going currently?
Well, really a gaggle of them, but I have some mainstays.
Oh,
Uh,
wait, I think we have some picture
oh, yes.
of your different wardrobe choices. Let me share my screen
Okie
and
dokie.
let's take a look at those together.
Ah, glorious. Yes, left to right, we have casual coverall, aka Mario Brothers Santa.
And are you wearing your custom
I am
called?
wearing my custom Santa Flavious chucks with that outfit, absolutely.
All right, we'll need to have a picture of those so that we can show the viewers too.
I will hook you up. And
So if
then,
anyone's just listening and not watching, he's wearing some delightful red overalls with a green shirt underneath and some fancy Santified custom chuck.
then we have my Russian Santa outfit
Oh,
with
that's
darker fur, which is
oh
really
yes.
it's really more practical. Chimney soot notwithstanding and so forth.
Yeah, it doesn't show the dirt as much as your white fur.
Right. And then, of course, we have Scottish Santa.
You look like you're dancing a jig there.
He's saying, Hid, move, look at the size of that cranium, and things like that.
Do you wear Santa underwear under your kilt or
Only Mrs. Claus knows for sure.
and what's that cool thing with like
Oh, I'm actually wearing it now.
what is that?
It's become
Tassels. That's the word I'm trying to think of. What is
some,
that thing with tassels on?
well, it is a Scottish, uh, I forget the name of it, but essentially a man purse. But
A man purse?
yes, it often accompanies the
Like a
kilt.
bum bag? Like a fanny pack?
Exactly. It often accompanies the kilt, but it opens it at the top, and I put my essentials in there.
I didn't know that it opened and you could put stuff in there. That's
Yes,
cool.
not the least of which is breath mints, because nobody likes a Santa with foul breath.
Especially when they're, sitting on your lap asking you for
Oh, yeah.
presents.
Yes, I would like the new LOL doll. My God, Santa, your breath stinks. Try a Tic Tac. So I started carrying Mentos in my Santa bag.
Okay.
And then, of course, the traditional, which is more or less what I'm wearing now, but I've snazzied it up with a green vest.
Yes, I have been enjoying your green vest this year. It looks very nice.
Thank you very much.
Very dapper indeed.
I think it's responsible for my viral videos. Um, and then, not seen in this picture, but I am wearing them now, are my new boots. Uh,
New boots. All right. Let's stop
which,
sharing the screen. And can you kick your boot up like on top of your desk or something and show us? Or
well,
is that asking a little too much?
yes, yes, I think I'll pull a hammy that way. Perhaps I'll send you a picture of those as well.
Yes.
Uh,
Send me a picture.
but they're custom made. They were made in the country, oh my birth, Turkey. Um,
Turkey.
yes,
Oh.
they were made in Turkey. Back to my roots, and I love them a lot. They jingle when I walk.
What about your glasses? Because I like to get fun new frames every year and change my look up, but you've been kind of riding those same glasses for a long time. Can I maybe talk you into getting some snow leopard
Oh, I would.
frames like mine or something?
Let's do it.
I would like to talk with you a little bit about some Christmas traditions. I just learned the other day, I was talking to my friend Karen, and she was telling me her husband's family is German, and she said they have a collection of these little things called German smokers. And they're these cute little wooden figures, and you put like an incense inside of it. And it's designed where somebody's smoking a pipe, or there's like a woman holding a pie, and the smoke comes out of that to make it look like, a fun might be a house with a chimney and the smoke's coming out of that. So I thought that was cool learning about Christmas traditions from other countries. What are some of your favorites that you've run into across the years or maybe in different lands?
Well, first and foremost, let me say this to your friend Karen. I'm so sorry that your name has gotten such a bad rep. I am so
For
sorry.
reals.
I'm
She
so
is my work wife and she is amazing. So Karen to me means kick ass. She's awesome.
sorry. That's great. Traditions. When I think of traditions, I spent a lot of time in the Netherlands, next door to Germany. And I love the Dutch. What was it that Austin Powers said as he played Goldmember in the Austin Powers movie? He said, I am from Holland. Isn't that weird?" Uh,
Not
I,
get in my belly. That was the other guy.
but my traditions are actually Dutch in origin, my Christmas traditions. For instance, on Christmas morning, after I've been up all night, there is nothing I look forward to more than some krentenbrood. 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 Say it with me.
Prentenbrood.
They're close enough. It's essentially raisin bread with marzipan, a big section of marzipan through it. So when you slice it, you get just a little bit of marzipan. When you,
Wow, that sounds rich.
yes, put that in the toaster, put a little butter on it. Good stuff.
That sounds delightful.
And I also like Dutch chocolate, of course. Every year, Mrs. Claus gets me my initials in Dutch chocolate.
Aw, one of my favorite Christmas memories is when my mom, I mean, you hid the presents around the house. We got up and there was a letter that had been typed that rhymed that gave us clues about where to go around the house and look for our presents. And they were hidden in various places. And my sister had one list of clues and I had another, and we would read them out. And it was like a little mystery. We had to figure out what it meant, the little clue. And the clue led me to the dryer. And then in the dryer, there was Barbie or something. And
That
then one year,
Melissa had
uh, there were little footprints, like a notepad that was in the shape of a footprint. And I had one color and my sister had another color, and they led us around the house to where the presents were hidden, like behind a curtain or behind the couch. So it was never just a run and rip open all the presents at my house. Very
that,
creative and fun.
that was my early experimentation with fusion, where I fused Easter egg hunts with Christmas.
Ah, fusion. If somebody knows or suspects that they might be on the naughty list, is there any way or anything that they can do between now and the big day to sway you to move them over to the nice list?
Well, first, they could subscribe to your podcast. That would certainly help.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. Yes, yes. Uh,
but for realsies, people often ask me about the nice and naughty list, and
mhm.
it's been blown out of proportion over the years. In that, I don't necessarily look at every deed or every action, which sways the list one way or the other, but it's really a matter of the heart. Did you have a bad day, or are you a bad person?
Oh, okay. So you accept the fact that we all make mistakes,
Correct.
and as long as we feel in our heart that we want to do good things,
Yeah.
that might get us back on the nice list.
Did you have an oopsie, or are you evil incarnate? I mean,
Okay. So there is hope
absolutely.
for those who believe that they're on the naughty list.
And from the Gospel of Don Henley, I've been trying to get down to the heart of the matter, where everything changes and thoughts start to scatter. But I think it's about forgiveness,
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 even if,
even if
even if
you
you
don't.
don't bring me gifts anymore. All right, so a question that I am going to be asking all of my guests that I interview. When you're doubting yourself, or there's something that you would really like to try or participate in, but you're worried that others might not think it's appropriate. How do you pump yourself up?
Well, that harkens back to what we were talking about earlier. Uh, if you are of the strong opinion that the thing you're about to do, the what you're about to partake in, that thing, fill in the blank, like a Mad Lib, uh, is going to bring one person joy, is going to put a smile on one person's face, is going to make somebody else's day, just one person, then you take the other voices and the other opinions that may or not be rooted in reality, and you go, bye bye. And you
You
focus
sweep them off to the side.
on absolutely, absolutely. Swish them away. The cold never bothered me anyway. That's Elsa from Frozen. She was ahead of her time.
Yes, yes. Did not realize you were an Elsa fan. Very interesting. All right. So I would like to end this show by playing the recording of the song that we sang together this year. So Santa has generously asked me to join him last year and this year at the Longview tree lightings down in downtown Longview. And we sang a song that we do not have the rights to, but Santa made his own arrangement of this song. And I love this because you call it a song about misfits. And I certainly am a misfit. Happily, though, like I prefer to be a misfit, if you will. Fitting in is not the goal in my world, anyway. So we sing this song together, and I totally love it. Do you want to say anything more about how you were inspired to make this arrangement?
Certainly. You mentioned misfits, and that really is, and we're talking about spoiler. We're talking about Rudolph. And if you've ever seen the 1967, I think it was, fast motion or claymation, I'm not sure, of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, he was essentially outcast for being different.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly, it's a silly story about a reindeer, but what you might miss if you aren't listening closely is that is describing a lot of us. That is describing a lot of special people on this planet who are often marginalized, who are often looked at differently. And Mandy, the very first time I ever sung that version of the song publicly, there was a young man in the audience who was an outcast by today's standards, and I sang that song, and he told me later that it just brought tears to his eyes. So I
Aw.
if I can do that for one person just by pointing out a simple truth, like it doesn't matter what you look like, where you've been, uh, or what others think, I
Or
love
who you love,
you.
or what you wear.
All of those things. I love you unequivocally, without condition. That's the definition of love. Agape, the word. So I told myself I was going to continue to sing that song. And as fate would have it, now I have someone wonderfully talented to sing it with, who also
To
happens
duet
to
with,
be a
to harmonize with.
right. That's exactly right. Shall we play it?
Yes. So I want to close the show with the song. Those of you who don't want to listen to the song, feel free to tune out. But if you want to stick around and listen to the song, that's how we're going to close the episode. Um, but I wanted to, before we do that, thank you very much for spending some time with me today, Santa, and for letting me join you on stage occasionally and sing songs together. And thank you for being a friend and all that. Thanks for being you and for bringing joy to all of us. And We're excited. It's your big show, big time of year coming up in a few days, and good
My
luck with all that. Have safe travels.
thank you so much. Keep being you, Mandy.
That's the plan, Stan. All right. So now we will play the Santa Flavious arrangement of Rudolph
And
and scene.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shining nose, and if you ever did see him, you might even say that it glows. All of the other reindeer, they used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games.
Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say,
Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? That's when the reindeer loved him, as they shouted out with glee, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history.
Rudolph, oh Rudolph, I love you just the way you are.
We're talking about a Rudolph,
Oh Rudolph,
don't you know that I love you?
just the way you are. Rudolph, you're beautiful, just the way you are. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say,
Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? That's when the reindeer loved him, as they shouted out with glee, Rudolph, your papa loves you, the rest is history. Rudolph, Santa loves you, the rest is history.